despite his recent injury, Josh Giddey has been on an absolute tear. The question me and Pat are going to answer today is Josh Giddey, might he be the star that the Bulls have been looking for? We're going to talk about all and more in today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bulls podcast, Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000.
Working on it.
Hey, listen. I'm Haize, host, creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. I forgot who I was there for a second.
You okay?
Listen, it's been a interesting 48 hours there, my boy.
Been a couple of days.
It's been an interesting few days there, my boy. With that said, though, Pat, Josh Giddey has been on a crazy tear, bro, averaging almost a triple-double since the All-Star break. And while, the scoring level may not be sustainable as you get better players around this team, we'll see what it does. I do think him getting to the free throw line shows that the scoring can definitely be an uptick from what he's done before. I don't know if he stays at over 20 points per game as the team continues to improve. I don't know if he wants to. Josh Giddey's best attribute is he wants to make the players around him better. So if he scores a little bit less, that's probably what he actually would want to do. Those assist numbers would probably go up. Is Josh Giddey, do you think Josh Giddey can be the star that the Bulls have been searching for the last 5 years?
This is so tough, right? Because it's Josh Giddey has been playing at a phenomenal level. I mean, since the All-Star break, he's averaging 23, 10, and 8. You almost can say 11 and 8 just about. I mean, 10.9 in 9 games since the All-Star break. The interesting part about the Giddey conversation is what do we have from him that makes him the star? Is it just the numbers? Is it the leadership? There's so many things that go into being a star. As far as one of the scorers on the team, I think Josh Giddey is whatever you need him to be. If you need him to facilitate the ball more, he can be that. If you need him to score more, he can be that. I think that when you say the term star, though, there's so much that goes into it. There's so much that you ask of a star in the NBA. I don't know if he'll be the star that the Bulls are searching for. Or let me say, I don't know if he'll be the superstar that the Bulls are searching for. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of how you got to clarify this. Can he be a star player in this NBA? 100%. There's a lot of star players in this NBA. And to me, I think Josh Giddey can absolutely be one of the guys who's consistently a 19, 13, and 9 kind of player. But can he get to that superstar status? That's kind of where you do need him to stay in the 25 to 27 scoring range. And I think you said it best, right? Is that where we want Josh Giddey at? Is that where the Bulls play their best basketball at? And with the team that we currently have, I don't think that we've seen that when he has the 27, 16, and 10 kind of nights.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I view it. I feel like there are only like 5 supersters in the league, so
I'm with you. I'm right there.
Yeah, I don't expect
you got to have
some
kind of jewelry or accolade.
Yeah, right. So but a star, right? I even think there's different tiers of stars, right? Like, it depends. Like, I look at Josh Giddey now as he's a player that you can absolutely build at least your offense around. I think I don't know if you can build a full team around him yet, because typically you either need to be really damn elite offensively, or you need to be an elite two-way player for you to say that you're a player that you can build a whole entire team around. But I do think that Josh Giddey and the production that he's been putting up, and you see that how he's still learning at 22 years old, it's hard not to say that he doesn't have that upside. And that's probably why the Bulls traded for him, right? Like, he has that upside. Now, that doesn't mean he'll hit it, but you can clearly see the upsides there.
And I think here's the thing for me, right? Is he the star? Because right now it's kind of like, are we asking this question in the now? Is he the answer to that star question that the Bulls have needed? I don't think that we're there yet. But here's what I will say, Haize. When did we see this Chicago Bulls team really start to be their most competitive? When Josh Giddey started showing the effort on both ends, the Bulls followed suit.
Yeah.
That's a star trait.
That's true.
You started giving more effort. You started doing more. You started going all out. You started saying, hey, listen, nope, we're going to do this. I'm going to be the one communicating over here on the defensive end. And also, I'm going to take more of an initiative on the offensive end. Excuse me. That's a star trait when your team follows suit with what you do.
Yeah.
And so to me, I think that, is it there? Is it something that you could build upon? At 22 years old, I don't think that we can say that it's not there. But is it there right now? That's where I'm kind of like, listen, he's had a good season. It's been 9 games of great. I need to see more than 9 games. I've seen a lot of hot months in Chicago. Niko Mirotic had a hot month in Chicago. And that, not to say that this is just a hot month. Giddey's had a good season, but like, this has been an extremely like, oh snap, he's one of the best hoopers in the league right now over the month of February and heading into March.
He's definitely in the consideration as of right now for player of the month of March. But I mean, it's only 4 games in. We got to see how it's going to go. But when it comes to Giddey and his performance, I think overall, like, we need to see this sustained, right? I hope that he finishes the season extremely strong. How he starts off next season is going to be hugely important. And the reason why I say that, again, no slight to anybody, Coby White had a really good stretch last season. Now, he had an injury. He didn't necessarily finish the season strong. He had a really great first playing game, not a great second playing game. But the start of this season wasn't necessarily the best. Now, there were other factors, change of position, change of role. Zach LaVine came back, all those things. But like you said, we've seen a lot of hot stretches in Chicago, right? We've seen a lot of it. But Nico, every year, what was it, February? I'm not Nico, Larry. It was what, February every year?
Every February, Larry, you knew Larry was cooking. Larry was like, Black History Month, let me show you something.
We had 3 months of amazing John Salmons. He fell off the cliff. Real talk. You remember when Hakeem Ward came here and had an extremely like I'm digging into the archive here.
Hey, bro, remember that? But hey, I was a Hakeem Ward guy too after that month. I ain't gonna lie, I was defending him. I was like, you got to get him more shots, man. Hey, remember that hot Bobby Portis?
I mean, you were also like 13 then too, though. So
yeah. I was a big anybody that plays for the Bulls guy. I remember that hot Bobby Portis December.
Yep,
that cost us Luka.
So it's like, and again, no slight to Josh Giddey. I think what Josh Giddey has been doing has been absolutely great. It's been fun to watch. It's been fun to see him realize, hey, my shot's not falling today. I'm bigger than you. If I drive to you, you're going to foul me because you can't stop me, or I'm just going to get an easy lay-in. It's been great to see the evolution of him understanding that with having more opportunities on the offensive side of the ball. It's been amazing to see that. I have, much like I said with the Bears, right? The Bears have had amazing off seasons on paper for years.
Off-season champions, baby.
Yeah, but we don't do nothing, right? Like, so, and it's, again, this is not against Josh Giddey. This is just my own pessimism getting in the way here. I just have to see it, finish the season strong, show me what you got at the beginning of the season, and then at that point, I mean, you're already going to have your contract at that point. Yeah. And then at that point, we'll have more kind of data to go off of.
Here's what I'll ask you though, right? Is and we've talked about this a couple of times. The fact that since Zach LaVine has really kind of been out of the picture for the Bulls, we've seen Josh Giddey's talent take a real uptick. Outside of those couple of Detroit games, he's been hooping, right? Is that something to you that kind of, that's what he was asking for with the whole Shea situation out in OKC? Listen, I can be this guy, but y'all keep putting the ball in his hands. When Zach LaVine's in the building, no matter what, we can say he's the point guard and he can do this. We all got to follow Zach because Zach's been here. Zach's the leader of this team. Zach's still the dude that we're all following suit on. He's got the ball in his hands. Is it now the fact that Josh Giddey has the ball in his hands and you can look at him and say, hey, look, he's playing at an all-time level. You start to put some pieces around him. You could be talking about him being consistently the 26, 10, and 12 guy who is leading you to wins, not leading you to hard-fought losses.
I mean, I don't know how much. Here's the thing, and the reason why, and I get why you asked it. It's a valid question, but Josh Giddey, I don't see the Bulls ever being a high-level winning team without him having another guy that on the offensive side needs the shots. So if he can only do this without having another high-volume offensive player there, I don't know what that means for the Bulls' future right now because he's going to need that guy on the offensive side of the ball. So maybe it's just the player that Zach LaVine was. Maybe it's just that the team needed a culture change with removing Zach LaVine. There's a lot of reasons that could be into that. But I think if we ever want to be this high-level winning team that's winning 40-plus games consistently, you're going to have a scorer out there with Josh Giddey.
Well, I mean, listen, could we have that score on the team already? Is yet again, you remove Zach LaVine, and all of a sudden we start to see an uptick in another player who had that happen last year.
Well, Coby played pretty well with Zach LaVine as well at times last year, but we can continue that conversation and talk about Coby White and his recent run. But first, we got to get to a message from Skims.
Here we go.
You right there, my boy? Did you almost choke there in a second? You got excited about the Skims? You getting excited over it?
I'm laughing at you finna have to read the Skims ad. It's my favorite ad.
Hey, listen, when I found out Skims was making underwear for men, I was intrigued. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family, so I had to give it a try. Let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear, fit, comfort, or just finding the right style for me. Skims changed all that. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance of comfort and style. I tried Skims boxer brief, and I'm hooked. These are perfect for my active lifestyle. They move with me, never lose their shape, and stay in place all day, because I'm carrying some weight there. Whether I'm working out or just running errands, they're the most comfortable and reliable underwear I've ever owned. Plus, the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all. Shop Skims Men at skims.com/LockedOnNBA and Skims stores. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. More Locked On Bulls coming up next.
What did you do there?
You weren't supposed to hear that one. You weren't supposed to hear that one. You weren't supposed to hear that one. Oh,
got something new coming out. Hold on. Okay.
that wasn't supposed to be heard yet.
That's what happened when you out here out meeting the competition, dog.
Meat for meat. Coby White has been through a nice stretch himself after going through another slump, which he's gone through several over the course of the season. Yeah. Coby White really has rediscovered his scoring touch. He's now 6 straight games of scoring at least 20 points or more, with a 44-point game somewhere in between there as well. Even over that time, it's been almost 20 games since the last time Coby scored 15 points or less. He's done it twice since then, over that stretch. But how are you feeling about the recent run of Coby White through the month of March? 29 points per game on 49% shooting from the field, 34% shooting from three.
Listen, Coby has been phenomenal in the month of March. I think going back, Zach LaVine was traded on the 3rd of February, I think it was. And since then, you have seen the scoring go up for Coby White. Had about 4 or 5 games in a row there where it was, 5, 7, 11, and just inefficient shooting. But to me, the run that Coby White has been on is something that we see just about every single season for a month. Can you continue to do this? And it's good to see that this has carried on a little bit more. We've seen, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? When you're talking about his month of March, it's almost like there had to be a runway, and then you get the little bit of lift off, and now you're kind of on an ascension here with Coby White. The problem is, as always, right, it comes towards a random part of the season where there's going to be a stoppage in place, which in this case is going to be the playoffs, although the Bulls may actually try to make the playoffs. But I think when you talk about Coby White here, the question that you have to ask yourself is this continuous? Is this something that can maintain? And again, I think it is the same conversation as the Josh Giddey conversation. Who's in his way now? And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Coby White was still getting the ball. He was still playing well. But there are times where when you play on a team with Zach LaVine, it's your turn to shine. Last night with a player like Josh Giddey, you kind of see, listen, and I know no Tyrese Halliburton, it makes a big difference, but you can get your buckets and I can get my buckets because we both get buckets in a different way. Mm-hmm. Now, can you knock down the 3 ball? Sure. Are you good at getting to the bucket? Sure. And I have both of those traits as well. But where we find ourselves on the court is nowhere near the same spots. And it makes it effective for both of us at the same time. I actually think that Coby White has he's piqued my interest a little bit more kind of in this run than I've seen in previous runs, because my biggest question was always, well, can you operate on a team with somebody who occupies a lot of the same spaces as you do? I feel like Zach LaVine did that with Coby White.
Yeah, I mean, and Zach was, of course, a better catch and shoot player, but Absolutely. Like for Coby to grow as a catch and shoot player, I think he needs those opportunities and reps. We saw a little bit of that last night, right? Like not necessarily catch and shoot, but he was able to come off screens, make a decision whether it was to drive or to shoot, which in some ways opens up a little bit more of your game, because like you see with Coby averaging the rebounds and assists that he is, like it's more than just Coby needs to just go out there and score. And I think that's been the part that he's had to adapt to. Like last year, he basically had the green light. It was him and DeMar scoring, right? He basically had the green light, and DeMar, for credit to DeMar, really did kind of at times concede over to Coby and let Coby really shine, and then DeMar picked his spots a little bit better. Josh Giddey and Coby aren't good at knowing how to pick their spots, so they both had to find their rhythm in different ways. And as we've seen before, sometimes it takes players time to learn to play together. Dwayne and LeBron took almost a whole season to learn to play together. The reason why that team won so much is because they were just more talented than everybody else. But if you look at how efficient they were the following years after learning how to play together on the court together, it took a huge uptick. So you can't expect everybody just because of talent or just because theoretical fit for them to figure it out. It seems like Josh Giddey and Coby are starting to figure it out. That does make it more promising. The thing that puts this on a quicker timeline, though, Pat, is that you basically have to make a decision with Coby within the next 8 months, because you basically have to either decide to move him in the offseason, or if you want to give it another try, you got to the trade deadline, right? So you got about 10 months there is a better way to put it. But you have to make that decision sooner rather than later, right? Do you think that you've seen enough where you feel comfortable, if you were AK, to make that decision yet? Or do you think it's going to be another thing of we're going to have to at least use the first 25, 30 games to figure it out if this is real next season?
Well, listen, if I'm me, I think that I've seen enough to kind of know that Coby's going to have some inconsistent moments, but when he is hot, when he is going, when him and Giddey are playing together at this level, that they can be an elite duo. It just means that you have to have some pieces that kind of can help you get Coby through those slumps that every shooter goes through. We talk about this like every shooter doesn't have moments in time where they go through a little bit of slump. So Coby White is no exception to the rule there. But if I'm AK, I've never seen enough games of somebody before my back's against the wall and I have to make a decision. So what I expect to happen is probably we're going to need to see the first 25 games of Coby White heading into next season. We're going to wait. We're going to get around the trade deadline. There's going to be a bunch of chatter. He's going to get on a podium and go, we had a lot of conversations, but we weren't able to get anything done that we felt benefited the team in the long run. And I'm not going to put us in the wrong direction. Then Coby White is signed for $180 million 5-year contract.
$180 million is crazy.
Is it?
Yes, that's crazy. That's crazy
for this team. Come on, Doc.
Yes.
Lonzo's back on a 2-year deal. Come on.
Yeah, true. but a 2-year, $20 million deal. Like,
hey, my boy, he had no knees for 2.5 years, bro. Like, we saw 20. He's not playing right now.
The knee was growing in a lab, Pat. You got to give him credit. They were growing the knee in a petri dish.
Joel Embiid begging for this surgery to work.
I think also you got to don't overlook the fact that Giddey and Coby both now have ankle injuries, a history of ankle injuries. So we switching from knees to ankles. Is that the next era of the Chicago Bulls? Like, we got the knees figured out, but now it's the ankles.
Hey, just start taking cadaver everything at this point, dog. I need cadaver everythings on all my players with issues, bro. I'm not playing with them.
Listen, I'm telling y'all, over the next 5 years, we're going to see a lot of players get the surgery that Lonzo Ball had because
Joel Embiid about to get it right now. Hey, Embiid saw Zoe play. What's he played? 40 games this season. It was like, let me get that knee.
Let me get that knee, my boy. But like you said, bro, the problem is he started off with African knees.
He started off with African knees, bro. That's the problem here. Like, you can't come with the stock parts.
You go stock parts, bro. Like,
you came with the stock parts that they put in Lonzo Ball, and yours went bad, bro. Who you gonna take from?
We don't know what decisions like for all we know. Never, that would have got me canceled.
We are locked on. Be careful.
Got me canceled.
Be careful.
That would have got me canceled. All right. I'll tell you the joke after we get done recording. It was funny though. So I mean, like, all jokes aside though, like Coby and Giddey being on this upward trend at the same time is very promising. And I think that, but like I said it over on Central. I'm going to say it again here. You can't let a glimpse determine the future of your team, right? You can't go off just glimpses. You got to be pretty damn sure. And so the Bulls are going to take a little bit more time to evaluate. I know people have been saying you got to make a decision on Giddey and Coby this offseason. I'm telling y'all right now, they're both going to be on the roster at the start of next season.
Yeah, probably. And I think here's the question you got to ask yourself with Coby White, right? When you look around the NBA and you look at some of the stars around this league, the efficiencies ain't always the greatest. Are you okay with Coby White being an inefficient player at times?
Yeah, because here's the way that I look at it, right? Is that if you eventually do, let's just say for some reason the best player on the board next year, this year, whatever it is a shooting guard. You take that shooting guard, they're going to be on a cost-effective contract. I know people are going to say, but you just paid Coby White $35 million. If you play, because that player is going to start off coming off the bench.
Yeah.
If eventually you bring Coby off the bench, let's say a year after you draft that shooting guard, and at that point you're paying the shooting guard a rookie scale contract and Coby White for another 3 years, a higher contract to come off the bench and still be that scorer off the bench, I'm not mad at that at that point.
We'll see. I think that it's taking another guard is crazy, bro. Taking another guard,
but it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Listen, I think 180 to Coby is still in the realm of possibility without AK.
I don't even think his max is 180,
all on
bro.
The table.
That's crazy.
It's all on the table, my G. Hey, before we get into this final topic, where we got to talk about the Bulls' summer plans in 2026. That's right. Only on Locked On Bulls can the season still be going on, the playoffs be around the corner, and you're hearing about the summer of the Chicago Bulls. We do got to tell you guys all about Wayfair. Your home should reflect your style, and with Wayfair, it's easier than ever to make that happen. Whether you're looking for a simple refresh or tackling a big home project, Wayfair has everything you need in one place. Wayfair has huge selections that make it easy to find the perfect piece, no matter your space or budget. From cozy furniture and stylish decor to kitchen essentials and outdoor must-haves, Wayfair has it all, and at prices that fit your budget. Finding the perfect price is easy at Wayfair. I remember I was looking for a new rug to help the living room out, and Wayfair had so many stylish options at a great price. They also brought in some easy shopping and delivery. The site made it so simple to compare styles and prices. My order arrived really, really fast, and of course, I was surprised to find everything that I needed for storage solutions from storage solutions to patio decor, making it a go-to for all the things inside of my home. Head over to wayfair.com and find something that's just your style today. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. More Locked On Bulls coming up next.
It's out there now, so.
Nigga mother say, oh yeah. Lion with no hair. You ever seen me fighting in the forest with a grizzly bear? Help the bear.
Anyway, shout out to Italian James Brown in this mug.
Have you never heard that? That's mystical.
I know, but it's
no.
Anyway, what are we talking about? The summer of 2026. So right now, Pat, the Bulls are slated to have around $120 million in cap space in the summer of 2026, with only 5 players under contract. Of course, that Giddey is probably going to have a contract, so you're going to add that. They'll have to make decisions on Coby and Ayo by then. Let's say by some stretch of the imagination, the Bulls extend Giddey, Coby, and Ayo between now and the summer of 2026. They're still probably going to have between, at lowest, about 25, at most about $40 million in cap space. Do you think the Bulls can be legitimate players in the summer of 2026? It would mean Giddey, Modest, whoever we draft over the next couple of years looks good. But do you think that's a legitimate chance?
I don't know, dog. Like, I'm going to be real with you.
It's a fair answer.
I think that when you look at the foundation pieces that the Bulls have, unless you feel like you're going to get a star, which I would, that's a legit in my mind. Like, you're going to get somebody that is now the face of your franchise. I don't know if you want to be a player in the pool. You know what I mean? Like, what more are you looking for? If anything, you need to figure out some answers on your team, because you got 17 guards on this team. Trey Jones looks like...
They only have 5 players in the contract, so all those guards are theoretically gone.
Yeah, but well, that's true.
I mean, literally, that shouldn't be a problem by then. The players that we have under contract right now are Lonzo with a player option. It is Modest Bucilis, of course. Julian Phillips has it as well. And Jalen Smith is under contract then, and then I believe it's Dalen on his player option if it's picked up as well.
That's true. But see, the problem is, right, are you going to do a full reset?
I mean,
That's
some
the
of those
question that
guys
you
are still
gotta
going to be on a
ask.
contract by then. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulls maybe even do a round of extending everybody 1 year. It's very similar to the summer of what was it, 2020 of 2009 or 2010, the summer where LeBron and Bosh and all those guys were available. Like the Bulls,
9, right?
yeah, I think it was 9. They
9.
basically cleared the deck. And they had options to still bring a lot of their players back, which they ended up doing, right? That's how they still had so much depth. But then they flipped it and then used the cap space to just sign a damn, basically the bench mob, right? They made their bench elite at that point in time, and they were able to keep it foregoing that with, of course, ball head Carlos Boozer, who used shoe polish in his head.
He was playing all right. He couldn't play a lick of defense.
He played him. The first 2 years, people
Booz
always
was
talk about
solid.
Yeah, the first 2 years of Booz was really solid, and then he fell off the cliff.
It fell fast. Yeah, I mean, it fell fast,
Luckily,
just like that hairline.
Taj was there ready to pick it up and go.
Yeah, that's exactly what you needed there. I'll say this about it, right? Like, to me, I do think that the Bulls are a team that is more attached to their players than most. And I think that they will want to bring a majority of the pieces back that are here. I hope that they clear a lot of the guards out, but you're going to have to let some people go that you feel you're attached to, right? That's a conversation on Ayo Dosunmu. That's a conversation on Coby White. That's a conversation on if you want to re-up on Lonzo Ball, right? And I think those are the things to me where if you're going to go after it, do you feel like right now you have a foundation that adding a top player to can actually build something on? Because what a lot of teams are doing right now is what the Phoenix Suns did, which basically, we got a star, we're going to add another star, then we're going to add another star, and we'll figure out how to put a floor in later. And the Phoenix Suns were like, we got a roof in place. There's no house built under it, though. Yeah. I think right now the Bulls have done a good job of actually, and good job, and Bulls being in the same sentence is crazy, but as we've gotten into the second half of this season, it's tough not to say it. Like, they've done a good job of finding those role-playing pieces that you need the star to accentuate. And I do wonder if you feel that you're going to be willing to move on from a good portion of those guys, and I'm talking about the guys that actually make money, not the bottom feeders here, who to clear space to go out and go the star route.
Yeah. And we'll see, man. I mean, it's good to have the flexibility, right? I think that's the most important thing. It's good to have the flexibility leading into that. They clearly didn't want to take money that goes past that. So clearly they're prepared to do something if it needs be. We just got to see if it's going to warrant it. And I think that, right now you don't have a firm answer on that. Could that answer become more firm over time? Yeah, there's a chance of that. And that's what you're hoping is going to happen. We'd love to be able to say, by the middle part of this season, hey, the Bulls, don't forget the Bulls got some cap space this year.
Yeah.
You would love to be able to say that. But as of right now, I don't think that you could say it either way, but it's good to have the option. And it's good that the Bulls at least are starting to get to a place where you can start seeing that they're clearing a path to do something. Now, that could be to continue to go younger. Maybe maybe it's not a high-level free agent. Maybe they outbid on a restricted free agent to add to the young core, something like that, right? A complimentary. So there's a lot of options there, but that's the part that makes it special, is that you do have those options. So.
Yeah, we'll see what the Bulls do. Hopefully they do find a firm option, and firm option brought to you by Skims.
You guys can follow us at Locked On Bulls. You can follow Pat at Pat the Designer. You can follow me at CEO Haize. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV. We out of here. Love you guys. Go Bulls, y'all. Peace. Pat is tripping. That's crazy.
Was that the line?
Look, you were up to. You didn't cross it yet.
I didn't cross it. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I want to give our sponsor a shout out.
There you go. All right, good shit, my boy.